In the past, Ben Bostrum has been criticised for an attitude similar to Anna Kournikova's, a pretty boy too easily distracted by hobbies away from the circuit. Now in his 30s, Ben's preparing to make amends. How important is it to be back on the World Superbike circuit for you?
It's too important, I think, because you have this really empty spot in your life you're missing out, and it's important to fill that, you know? I thought I really wanted to go home in 03 and 04, and when I went home, it was nice to be home, I gotta say, but it wasn't the same as racing here. And because you left something behind, a goal that you never achieved.
What went wrong? Because you're doing very well with the factory Ducatis. You came third in 2001, but it all sort of seemed to spiral and go a bit wrong. What happened?
The point of 01, the Michelin and Dunlop were so close. The racing was fantastic. There was always 7 different guys that maybe could have won the thing, and there was always different winners. That was fantastic. Michelin got smart, came up with a new tire, and it just annihilated us. And pretty soon you're racing for 4th every single weekend, and it burns you out. You lose the enthusiasm, and you think, I'd rather go home. Then when you get home, you realize the grass is not always greener over here, you know? And you want to come back, and I'm just really fortunate to come back with the Renegade Koji Honda team because it's a great team. It's a bit like me.
You're saying it's a cool, relaxed team, but then you were saying about your frustration in World Superbikes when you weren't chasing for the front. Are you not going to get frustrated with such a developmental team? Don't you think it's a big risk?
I like it. I'd rather come from the floor and work my way up. It's the worst when you start off well and go downhill.
Because a lot of people were keeping an eye on you in the first couple of races, and you basically didn't have a bike in the first round in Qatar, and you certainly only had one bike, didn't you?
They built it on spot at the track. No sleep.
A lot of pressure not to crash that bike because it was the only one.
That's the funniest part. The qualifying comes along and the following day, you know, and I said, okay, well, I just got to put this thing somewhere around mid-pack. I did 3 laps and I crashed this bike. And I carried back the front fender to my guys, you know, and I said, okay, I'm sorry. And they found enough parts to fit the bike for the race, so that was pretty cool. And we did, we made 1 race.
A tough start to the season, but then we looked at Valencia, and from lots of DNFs and really low placing finish, we went all the way up to 6th. What went so right at Valencia?
It's got a lot of corners. It's got a lot of corners, and we had quite a good chassis by then. It was nice. Right there was the first bit of progress the team saw, and we all left with big smiles and understood. See, we're coming. You know, this year is the builder. Next year is we go for number 1 or nothing.
A lot of people question your commitment because they say you're too easily distracted by your hobbies. Like you do rock climbing.
That's been true in the past.
Yeah?
It has been true in the past. When I came to Europe, I wanted to see everything. So I was everywhere, you know, never one place, and I could just make it to the racetrack in time. And David Tardazzi would be like, Ben, what are you doing? I said, well, I was out doing this. I caught the last flight, but I'm here. I always thought, like, okay, life's too short, and that was always my motive. But then you don't do everything right, so lesson learned.
Isn't it a little childish betting your friends that you can do an Ironman triathlon in how many hours? Have you bet them?
10 hours. Normally I would laugh at it, and I think it's a joke, because I think you could do it, no problem. But this one's in Kona, and it's much harder. Very few people finish in under 10 hours.
Just remind people what you would have to do in under 10 hours.
You'd have to work very, very hard. You swim 4 kilometers, then you ride the bike for a couple 100 kilometers, and then you run for like 42 kilometers.
Isn't that going to distract from your racing?
I'm only focused on one thing, which is like a normal training regimen for what I should be doing, racing bikes anyway. I do that and I enjoy it. And when the race weekend comes, I taper it down.
We're expecting an Ironman under 10 hours. Can we expect a World Superbike champion in 2 years?
Yes, you'd better